Today we're going to learn how to crochet this popcorn stitch bag. This bag measures about 13 inches by 10 inches, so it's a nice size bag, perfect to put your traveling yarn in or going wherever you have to go. So the materials that I'm using for this tutorial, I'm using Caron 1 pound, and I'm also using a 5.5mm crochet hook and a 4mm crochet hook, but we'll be only using this tiny crochet hook shortly in this tutorial. You'll also need these purse handles. You can find that down in the description box. I'll link where you can purchase these similar handles. But don't worry if you don't feel like buying any handles. I also give you the option of using or creating your own crochet purse strap. And I have my own technique for creating purse straps, because you know when you crochet, straps stretch so much. So I like to put a running slip stitch down the center of my strap so it doesn't stretch. So there's the option for that. Alright, so you got to see exactly what this bag looks like. Let's take this directly into the tutorial. Just a quick note. I filmed this entire video calling the bobble stitch a popcorn stitch. So please forgive the brain fart. We're going to begin with a slip knot. Once you have your slip knot, chain 30 loosely, because we'll be working back into this chain again. So pause your video here and continue making 30 chains. We've made it to the very last stitch in this row, and we're going to place 2 single crochet into the very last chain. That's 1, back into the same chain, and 2. For row number 2 and 3, it's going to be exactly the same. So for row number 2, we're going to start by chaining 1 and turning your work. We're going to place 2 single crochet into that very first single crochet right here. So go back into that very first stitch, place a single crochet, back into it again with a second single crochet. Now we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way into the very last single crochet, and in that very last single crochet we're going to place 2 single crochets. So as you notice, we're just increasing on the first and last stitch. So pause your video here and I'll work that very last stitch with you. We've made it to the end of row number 3, and you should have a total of 35 stitches. So to begin row number 4, we are going to chain 1 and turn your work. We're going to place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So place single crochet into that first stitch, which is very easy to miss, so try not to. And the next stitch. Now we're going to start our popcorn stitch. The popcorn stitch is kind of worked like a double crochet, but stopped halfway through. So let me show you how it works. We are going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 and stop right there. We're going to do this movement a total of 4 times into the same stitch. So that was the first movement as 1. Let's do it again. Back into the same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. That's the second movement. Let's do it again. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. That was your third movement. We're going to do it one more time. Yarn over, go into that same stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. That was your fourth movement. You should have a total of 5 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're just going to yarn over and pull through all those 5 loops. Your popcorn stitch is made. So now we're going to start this pattern repeat. We're just going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches and popcorn all the way across. I'll work it with you. So single crochet, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, 1, next stitch, 2. Let's start that popcorn stitch. I'll work it one more time with you. Remember, we're going to do that double crochet movement 4 times. So here we go. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1. Back into the same stitch, pull through 2. That's 2. Back into that same stitch again, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 3. Let's do it one last time. Back into that same stitch and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. You should have 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all those 5 loops on your hook. Popcorn stitch is made, and now place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Alright, so that is your pattern repeat across. Pause your video here and repeat that all the way across, and I'll work the last stitches with you. We're almost at the end of row number 4, and after your last popcorn stitch you should have 2 stitches remaining. So place 1 single crochet in each of those last 2 stitches. The next 3 rows are going to be exactly the same. Row 5, 6, and 7. We are going to chain 1, turn your work. We're going to place an increase in that very first stitch. So that's 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Here's the first stitch. That's 1. Back into that same stitch again. 2. Now we're just going to place 1 single crochet all the way across. If you're having trouble finding your stitches with your popcorn, just turn your work up and now you can see all your stitches easily. So pause your video here. Continue placing 1 single crochet in each one of your stitches all the way across until you make it to the other end. And on the very last stitch, you're going to place 2 stitches. So pause your video here and I'll meet you at the end of this row. We made it to the end of row number 7, and you should have a total of 41 single crochets. We're all done increasing on the sides, and we're just going to be working regular stitches. To begin row number 8, we're just going to chain 1, turn our work. We're going to place 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches. So single crochet in that first stitch, that's 1, and into the next stitch, that's 2. And now we're going to do our popcorn stitch just like we did on the row below. So we're going to yarn over, go into that next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. We're going to do that a total of 4 times, and that was the first time. Pull through 2, that's 2. Back into the same stitch. Pull through 2, that's 3. Back into the same stitch. Pull through 2, 5 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 5 loops on your hook. Your popcorn stitch is made. Now, just like before, we're just going to place 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So single crochet into the next, and single crochet into that next stitch. And that is going to be your pattern repeat all the way across. We are going to popcorn stitch, then 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches all the way across. So pause your video here and I'll meet you at the other side. We're almost at the end of row number 8, and I just completed my last popcorn, and you should have 2 single crochets left. So let's place 1 single crochet into each of those stitches. 1, and in that last stitch. Oop, I'm having trouble. There we go, 2 for the last stitch. The next 3 rows are going to be exactly the same. You're just going to chain 1, turn your work. We're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across for the next 3 rows. Remember, if you're having trouble finding your stitches for your popcorn row, just turn your work up a little bit and you'll be able to see all your stitches. So pause your video here. Continue placing 1 single crochet in each stitch for the next 3 rows. I've just completed row number 11, and this is what your work should look like. To make this bigger, we're going to repeat rows 8 through 11 5 more times. So you're going to have a row of bobbles and your 3 rows of single crochets. So if you don't know exactly how to start that row, I'll leave a timestamp on exactly where row 8 starts, and I want you to repeat row 8 through 11 5 more times. Pause your video here and I'll meet you at the completion of your rows. For those who do not have a pre-made handle, stop your crochet pattern here and skip ahead to the timestamp below. This is where we'll close off our purse and move on to crocheting a handle. Alright, now we're going to move on for those who have the handle. So what we're going to do now, we are not going to chain 1, but we will turn our work. We're going to slip stitch into the next 9 stitches. I'll work it with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And in the next stitch, we're going to place 1 single crochet. Now we're going to do the repeat like we did for the popcorn stitches on this side. We're going to place 1 popcorn stitch. And you guys should all know how to do that by now, so I'm not going to work you through the popcorn stitch. Alright, we'll have to get 5 loops on my hook. And now begins that pattern repeat. And we have our popcorn, and we're going to single crochet into the next 2 stitches. 1, 2. So we're going to do popcorn stitch, single crochet into the next 2 stitches 7 more times. So I want you to pause your video here and repeat that pattern repeat 7 more times, ending with a popcorn stitch. You'll know you'll have enough because you'll have a total of 8 popcorn stitches. So pause your video here and I'll meet you at the completion of this row. We made it to the end of the row, and you should have ended on a popcorn stitch. You know you're correct when you have a total of 8 popcorn stitches in this row. But for our very last stitch, we're going to single crochet into that next stitch to finish off the row. Now the next 7 rows are super easy, and they're exactly the same. You are going to chain 1, turn your work, and we're going to place 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way across. We're going to do that for a total of 7 rows, including this one. And when you're done with your 7 rows, it'll look exactly like this right here. So pause your video here and I'll meet you at the completion of those rows. We've completed those additional rows, and I want you to fasten off your work but leave a long tail for sewing and get yourself a needle. So I have mine attached. I want you to turn your work to the opposite side. And whatever handle you have, I want you to place where the flap is. And sewing is really easy. I'm not going to show you exactly how to sew, but I want you to take this flap and turn it over. And we're going to be sewing to the row above that first row of popcorn stitches. Like I said, there is no special stitch. I'm just going back and forth as I sew. So you can pause your video here. Sorry for me not showing you exactly how to sew, but I am not a seamstress, and I'll meet you at the other side. Here is what my handle looks like all sewn together. Here's the front and here's the back. So now you're going to take your 2 pieces. We're going to have the right sides facing each other. So the wrong sides are going to be on the outside. And what we're going to do next is simple. We're just going to do a whip stitch all the way around the sides of your bag. Like I said, I'm not a big sewer, so you just take some yarn and a needle, start at the very corners, and whip stitch all the way around your work until you make it to the other side to close off your bag. And I'll show you what it looks like complete. To make the purse strap, you're going to chain about 31 inches worth of chains. For myself, that was 100 chains. And once you have that, you're going to half double crochet into the second chain from the hook. To make this strap, we're going to try to make it as non-stretchy as possible. So I want you to pause your video here and continue making half double crochets all the way down to the end of the chain. We've made it to the very end of the chain, and in that very last chain we're going to place 3 half double crochets. I'll work with you. 1, 2, and 3. I work those 3 so we can kind of turn our work, and we're going to be working on the underside of the original chain. This helps take away some of that stretch when you're wearing your bag. So we're going to start with half double crochets and work our way down the opposite end of this chain. So pause your video here and continue placing half double crochets down the bottom half of this chain. We're going to be doing a running slip stitch down the center of your work. Can you see the little holes that are in our work? Here's a hole right there. all the way down the center. That's where we're doing our running slip stitch. So I want you to take a secondary color, I'm using brown, and place a slip knot in it just like this. Alright, so now take your hook and stick it in to one of the very first holes that you see. Let me get closer. That's that first stitch, and stick it through. I'm taking my yarn from the back and pulling through. That would be, I guess, considered like a first slip stitch, but you're just attaching your yarn. Go into that next hole, you see it right here, and pull the yarn from the back and complete your slip stitch. I'll show you again. You see this next hole, insert your hook, pull the yarn from the back, and complete your slip stitch. So continue with this running slip stitch all the way down to the very end of your purse strap. So pause your video here and I'll meet you when you make it to the other side. Once you make it to the end, you're just going to fasten off your work. And now it's time to attach it to the bag. So I want to make sure, for those who are using this optional handle, make sure your work is on the wrong side facing out. And we're going to make sure our strip is also on the wrong side facing out. And we're going to go to the side and sew on a strap here, and on the other side and sew the strap here. And as usual, I don't teach how to sew, so just do a little stitch here and here, and your bag is all done. I almost forgot to tell you how to put the closing clasp on your purse. So what you need is a button, and if you don't have a button like myself, I lost my button container, you can make your own. Okay, you see this little cute button here? If you like that, you can follow the link up above or down in the description box. But once you have your button attached to the center top of your purse, you're just going to take some yarn and chain about 12. So here is my chain of 12. It's already fastened off. So I'm just going to wrap it around my button to make sure that it's long enough. And here's my clasp. And I'm just going to take those long tail ends and sew it onto the back of my purse. Just like so. Of course, I'm going to put a better knot in it, but I'm just showing you this for the tutorial purposes. So, and that is how you put your center clasp on. And now, your purse is complete.